Hello YouTube and beyond. I'm Pater. It's been just over a week since my first ever self-produced EP, Soul, came out, and I feel pretty good about it, you guys. Yay! I've been getting lots of really nice messages, and it's been warming my heart and my soul and my spirit. I went into this process not really knowing or thinking that I could produce my own music, and I learned so much along the way. It was kind of inevitable. Like, I had to learn things to be able to make it at all. So I thought we could just like hang out and listen to the EP and talk about it, and maybe you can glean something from it as well. Let's glean something from this experience. I also put out a call yesterday for questions on TikTok and Instagram, so once we go through the EP, I will answer some of those. Without further ado, let's dive in. Soul! Number 1, Damn Damn. 2, 3, 4. Got a little weekend project plan. I'll have all my demons stuck behind a dam. Damn! On the other side is all I am. Man, hey, down, down, down. Haha. Aw, Damn Damn. So Damn Damn was the second last song of the 30-day songwriting project. And I gotta say, around the last week, I was starting to feel like I don't know if I can finish this thing. I'd never written that much in that kind of period of time, and I was starting to run out of ideas. But we pushed through, we got to the end, and I feel like it was so like a moral of the story moment that if you just kind of stick to things and be consistent, good things might happen. That's something we can glean. Once the song kind of took off and I got all these requests to finish it, I was honestly so pumped that the process was super smooth because I didn't have a chance to overthink it, which is usually my kryptonite. The only thing I had to rewrite was the bridge. I put down that like bass line, put down. Oh, look at me these days. And then I just started singing this oh my god line, which seemed kind of nonsensical, but worked. Until the day that it came out, I was like, is this line basic? But I'm glad I went with it because it's just kind of fun and it's still fun to sing along to. My favorite part of this production is the last chorus where we have all the different voices coming in. That's like 15 of my friends who sent me those 2 takes each within a day. And then Kyle Gamble, who mixed it, had to go through 30 background tracks. My request from him was to make all the voices sort of pop at some point so that you could hear all the different qualities and stuff, and he did a really great job with that, so I love that last chorus a lot. I played all the instruments on this track, but as I am fairly new to producing, I'm also fairly new to playing lead guitar parts and bass even. So I had to record all the guitar parts so many times and then string them all together, especially that guitar in the second chorus. Do 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 do. That was like note by note. I think I hear something, but figuring out how to play it and then playing it and then like basically splicing it all together. That's Damn Damn. Let's move on to Sleep. I won't get into it yet, but let's listen to it first and then I'll talk about it. Scroll through old text till the fuck hits and rocks me back to sleep. Okay, I'm so happy that I can enjoy listening to this song now because let me tell you, the production process was akin to a nightmare. That's a Sleep joke. The writing process for Sleep was so smooth. It kind of just like, how do I say this without being pretentious? It was one of those songs that just poured out of me. It poured out of me and onto the page. Sleep happened on a day when I didn't drink coffee and I decided to take a nap in the middle of the day, even though I knew I had to have a song written by like 5 p.m. so I could record it at night and then post it the next day. And I was like, you know what? I know I need to do things, but I really just want to sleep for a bit. And I put on lo-fi vibes to chill and relax to. And then I woke up from my nap and I was like, sleep, dream about the 5 o'clock traffic. Sleep, dream about the 5 o'clock traffic. All of a sudden I had this song that was just like about what I was experiencing. I was so excited to record it. And it was one of the top 5 songs that people picked when I asked what songs do you want on the EP. But then when I got to producing it, the original direction that I'd taken it in seemed so lame for like a whole production. It turned out as this like very clean like country folk song, and I just wasn't very excited about it. So what I ended up doing after so much turmoil was bumping up the BPM and then kind of reimagining it as a alt rock song from the 90s. That kind of like gritty guitar sound, along with the acoustic guitar and the very poppy melody, made this like mixture of frustration and ethereal energy that I really liked. And then once I kind of committed to that way, then the production sorted itself out a little bit more. Plus, the other thing was that I wanted like a guitar solo in there, and as much as I tried my splicing together method, it just like wasn't quite enough. So I brought on two friends. I brought on my friend Alex Purcell to play the guitar solo on it and some other lead guitar parts. And I also brought on his brother, Rob Purcell, to record a MIDI drum take of the whole thing based on sort of what I had for it already. The other thing that really unlocked the production process for this song was I got this really nice birthday present, because it was my birthday right in the middle there. I got this cool thing from Rolly. This is a Seaboard. It's just such a like musician's toy. I think it's really like a toy for anyone. I think if you hand this to anybody, they will immediately be like, I'm producing a track. It's just so fun to play with, and the sounds on the synth that it comes with, Equator, are really cool. So I used a preset called Space Piano on Equator, and I made that little sound that you hear at the beginning of Sleep. And then I was excited about the song again, which is very important. All my videos dissolve into ASMR videos eventually. The final thing in the Sleep Chronicles was recording the vocals. At that point, I had just spent so much time laboring this song, and I just didn't like any of the vocals that I'd done. So I was like, if I don't just record all the vocals to the song in a night, I'm never gonna get it done. So I drank a little bit of Benedictine, which is my liqueur of choice. I was like, I'm just gonna do the whole thing like 5 times. I have to send it all off in 24 hours anyways. Rock and roll, baby. Then when I received the first mix of Sleep back from Kyle, I was like, it's a real song! After all of that, it actually became a pretty great jam. Sleep has become my like long-term relationship where I look back and I'm like, I know we went through hard times, but look at where we are now. All my relationships are with songs. You know what? It's better that way. Let's move on. Next we have Levity. Ooh, Levity. The only song that actually says soul, albeit a different version of soul. Did I get the title from there? Probably. You're in a smoky, like, jazz bar, and it's a spoken word night. The song is so dramatic. Give me the levity, bigger than big and smaller than microscopic, so I can pick it up when I drop it again. Give me the levity. Blessed. This one was a bit of an unexpected TikTok success. When I was making it, I was like, this is so weird. This is like just gonna be a write-off when it comes to TikTok. I don't think anyone's gonna stop and like listen to this. And then they did. It was like one of the few songs that got like more views before Damn Damn. So I was really excited about that. I was like, people like art. That's exciting. On the album, I didn't want to extend this song much further. I feel like it said what it needed to say, got in, got out, didn't make a big show of it. It's a bit of an intermission, and I think of it as a poem. Gives your ears a little bit of a break from that pop structure that all the other songs are pretty much made in. The only thing that I added on this song, just for the sake of adding something, I just added this wah trumpet sound at the end, which is the wow, wow, wow. And that is just a electric guitar ran through the wah trumpet preset on Logic. So yeah, that's Levity. Let's move on to PR, public relations. That breath at the beginning reminds me to breathe, which is good, I think. You're my PR and I love what you've done to me, and you made me a star. Star. So PR was the first song of the 30-day challenge. It was quite a cheeky little song. This was very much a song of like accidents and figuring things out as I go along and like trusting the process. When it came to the production, I think this song can go 2 ways. You can give it a really big alternative pop, I think, production. I didn't feel like I could quite do that yet. But the other direction that I thought you could go with it is super simple, piano and vocals. And the thing that inspired that was actually I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie. The really cool thing I find about that song is that I think that it has this big production. It just feels like such an epic song. But when you actually listen to the song, it's just guitar and vocals. And I think it lets your mind fill in the blanks. So I thought that was super cool, and I wanted to go for something similar with PR. Death Cab for Cutie is obviously, wow. But that was the inspiration for the production. So I recorded the piano and I sat down and recorded a few takes of the vocals. And then when I listened to them afterwards, I realized that I'd done almost the exact same performance in both the vocal takes that I'd recorded, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I played them together and it sounded nice, so I decided to keep it. The percussive elements at the end of the track were actually the consonants from the vocal takes earlier. I picked up some T's and some K's, and that made kind of the most of the like hi-hat or snare sounds that you hear in the song. There's also a kick that I picked up from Logic Loops and just filtered it to be like super deep, and I wanted to kind of feel like a stomp. I guess it felt like some of the production choices on this song were a risk because they were very like easy, which is a good thing. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's bad. That's something to be gleaned. We've gleaned more. Next up we have YANVO.
You are not very old, you know. You can let that go, you know. In 100 years or so, you'll still be younger than a tortoise.
Turn it up! I really can't wait to play this song live. YANVO, I had the clearest idea of production going into it, and the thing that really kind of accomplished that was the not distorted bass and guitars in the verses, the kind of clean, verby, like delayed verse and guitars, and then the heavy distortion on the guitars and the bass in the chorus. I also played the chorus bass with a pick, which also made me feel very cool. I was probably wearing this same shirt and like flexing as hard as I could and just going yeah, I like music that makes me feel cooler than I am. It was a big learning curve in programming all the drums in this. Still, it does sound pretty like electronic. Every single drum fill was a journey. Every moment of it was like, is this what a drummer would do? I don't know. I've never played drums. There was some YouTube video watching of like basic drum fills, advanced drum fills. Although also leady guitar parts in the song also took me ages to figure out. But I'm proud that I did all the instruments on this one myself. Another thing I did not think I'd be able to do a few months ago. That's a big glean moment, I think. One mistake that I made in making the song was every time I recorded vocals on it, and I also made the same mistake on Sleep a little bit. Every time I recorded vocals, I was like, well, this is just a scratch vocal. And I did so many scratch vocals throughout the process that by the time it was time to record the actual vocals, it was like not fresh anymore. In the future, one thing I'm gonna remember is every time you record vocals, pretend it's the real thing, because you might just get that energy that you want. So afterwards, when it came time to record the actual vocals, I was overthinking it. Luckily, I had a very good friend who I kept sending the songs to, and they were like, stop, like, it sounds great, just send it to be mixed and don't worry about it. Okay, one more song left off the streaming release of Soul. This one is They Love You.
One day you're gonna have to believe they love you.
Tell me it's not a flex to put clapping at the end of your own EP. But I did have a real artistic reason for it. So basically, this song, I was really excited that people liked it enough to put it like in their top 5 for the EP. And I felt like it was really important for it to be on there if people liked it, because it's the message of it is like something that I think is important for me and, you know, for others. So the whole song, the vibe of it, even kind of like the subject matter of it was inspired by the incredible, incredible music community that we have in Toronto. A lot of what I've learned in terms of production, in terms of playing different instruments, has been from watching people at the open mics that we have in our city. People who are so skilled at what they're doing. So this song is actually a bit of an ode to them. The incredible sax solo that you hear at the end is May Akanuma. She is so good, my god. Like in my email to her, I sent her the track. I was like, please play for this many bars and please record the first thing you do. And she did, and like she knocked it out of the park. And like Alex Purcell, who I was talking about earlier, who played on Sleep, and Rob Purcell, who played drums on Sleep, also two people that I look up to so much. A lot of the lead guitar parts where I was stuck and I didn't know what to do, I was like, what would Alex do? Also on the song was my good friend Kunle, who played some percussion on it, and he just like added way more on that end that I could have ever like done by myself. Thank you to the both of them and to Alex and to Rob. And then what I was kind of hearing for the end of it was at the end of a great jam that like you have with your buds, everybody kind of just goes, oh, you're like, yeah. Like I wasn't quite able to get the recordings that I wanted to make that happen. So I just pulled that sound off of this great resource, which is freesounds.org. There's lots of like Creative Commons sounds that you can use in your recordings. There's also some wind sounds that I used in Desert from freesounds.org. I mean, it's .org, so you know it's here to help you out. So that is almost the entirety of Soul. There's one more song that I recorded that was not like in the top 5 requests, but definitely part of the requests. I really love this song. The whole arrangement I recorded the night after I recorded Damn Damn, and I was so psyched on it. Let's listen to it and then I'll talk about it. This is Not So Sure.
Restless heart, ringing dissonance, feigning resolution, betraying doubt. I'm not so sure what you are doing this for. Doing this for. Doing this for. Doing this for. If something's trapped inside.
I'm really proud of a lot of the parts that I wrote for this song. I really like how the drums in that band section turned out, and the bass line, like I really love so many elements of this song. I was so into the songwriting of this and like so excited to make it that when it didn't sound exactly how I wanted it to sound, I just like didn't want to put it on the EP, I guess. Yeah, it's too bad because I still really like it. But it is available on Bandcamp. I definitely wanted to make it available in some capacity, so I figured I'd add it onto like the Bandcamp release as like a bonus track. Not So Sure feels like such an emotionally important song to me. It's written about something real. Gosh. Yeah. You know what? Before I get like too emotional about this, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm gonna stop there. Not So Sure. Check it out on Bandcamp. So with that said, that is the entirety of Soul. It felt super empowering to go from thinking like, well, I need a bunch of money to go to a studio and like hire somebody to make these songs for me, to just kind of doing it at home. There are links in the description to go stream it and check it out and share it with your friends. As an independent artist, that really does mean a lot. Now let's move on to some questions. I asked you on TikTok and on Instagram if there was anything you wanted to know about my songwriting process, my self-production process, or really anything at all. So here we go. Daisy on TikTok asks, what mic do you use and how? Do you record instruments and vocals at the same time or at a different time? I've gotten this question about what mic I use a lot, and I'm not surprised. She's a stunner. So this is a Blue Spark SL microphone that I have been using for a few years now. It is a condenser microphone, which is generally what's used for vocals. To be honest, when I bought it, I liked how it looked, and I trust Blue. The other mic that I have that I'm using right now to record this video is this Blue Yeti microphone. This is like a podcast microphone. It has the ability to record, I guess, omnidirectionally, so you can have a conversation with someone and record the whole thing. If I wasn't using this microphone, this is what this video would sound like. You could hear all the reflections, all the echo in my room, and it just wouldn't be as clear. But yeah, this mic you can get online. Once again, it is the Blue Spark SL microphone. I've been very, very happy with it. The response is great. It looks nice once again. It's helpful for somebody who's recording music and making videos at the same time who, you know, it matters. It matters what it looks like. Don't judge me. And in terms of whether I record vocals and instruments at the same time or at a different time, usually I will record them separately so that it gives me the maximum amount of playroom. But for a song like They Love You, for example, I recorded the guitar and the vocals at the same time, and it gives it that nice flow, live feeling that I was trying to capture in that song. Natasha Grace Ann from Instagram asks, how did you learn to produce, like, on the technical side? The real answer is, I haven't. One thing that just like made production less scary for me is realizing that it's essentially just taking what you hear happening in a song and then making it happen. So how I worked in this process was just learning as I go. I asked my friends who are skilled producers how to do things a lot of the time. It was just kind of like problem solving and figuring it out as you go along for the most part. I don't think you need to know everything when you're starting. And I also think that there's something kind of valuable about doing something that you know nothing about. You end up making all these happy little accidents that lead you to places you might not have gone otherwise. Of course, it's also really useful to know what you're doing, and that will give you a much more efficient path to what you're trying to do. But pros and cons to everything, whatever works. Brendan French Arts from IG says, Soul slaps so hard, I've had it on repeat all week. Yes, awesome. And then he says, do you have any plans for a full album? Let me just tell you. Actually, let me put my glasses back on. There's still actually a few more songs from the 30-day songwriting project that are going to come out in the next few months that are co-productions. I wanted Soul to be purely self-produced songs. I kind of just wanted that to be the focus of the project, and I wanted to take that on. But the larger 30-day songwriting thing will have enough songs to be a full album, and I'm thinking there will be a physical release once that does happen. So there's a spoiler, and I'm very excited about it, and I'm glad you are too. Miss Balalaika from TikTok says, do you have writer's block, and if so, how do you get out of it? I will sometimes have like periods of writer's block. For me, it goes on for like months. And usually the thing that creates it is a little voice that's like, your best days are over, kid. Like, might as well quit while you're ahead. The more that I believe that voice, the longer the writer's block lasts. But if I decide that that voice is wrong and follow even like the slightest idea that comes to me and just like focus on developing it, I find that's how I usually wiggle out of writer's block when it comes my way. And that's on writer's block. It happens to us all. So if you have any tips or tricks for getting out of writer's block or creative block of any sort, please leave them in the comments. Alexis Andaye, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but I really like how it looks. It's a very beautiful name. She asks, what was all the equipment you used on Soul? This is such a great question. I love watching videos of people talking about this. It's a big question though. So I might make a separate video on it later, just like talking about how much everything costs and blah, blah, blah. But for now, I'll just take you very briefly through everything. So as I talked about earlier, this trusty mic is the mic I use on all my recordings, the Blue Spark SL microphone, think. The next most important thing is this Focusrite Scarlett Solo interface. This is where the mic plugs into and the guitar plugs into. This is just like, it's just got two inputs. It's good if you're just recording by yourself. Also a very important thing is the digital audio workstation that I use, the DAW. You hear DAW among music makers a lot, and I used to not know what that meant, and I was like, DAW? DAW? I felt very like out of it for not knowing what a DAW is. Digital audio workstation. That's all it is. I use Logic, which is very much like GarageBand. If you have a Mac, you already have GarageBand on your computer. I really like the Logic presets. Logic is what I use. Logic Pro X. There's also like a mic stand here and a pop filter and some wires to get everything hooked up. In terms of instruments, I use this Casio LK270 keyboard to record pretty much everything that I do on MIDI. For bass, I use this beautiful Fender Precision bass that I received as a birthday gift a few years ago. My birthday gifts are just like glossy, and I put off playing it for a long time because I was scared that I was not going to be able to do a good job, but honestly, bass is so much fun to play, and I hope that I get much better at it one day. The acoustic guitar that I use is this Taylor C210. I've had this for probably about 10 years. Still in great shape. And the electric guitar that I use is this Godin XTSA. Godin is a Canadian company. Just thought I'd throw that in there. This is the first instrument that I bought for myself with my own earnings, so it feels like really my baby. The last thing that I use, which already made a cameo in this video, is again this Rolly Seaboard. If I'm not missing any, oh yes. I almost forgot. This is also a very important element. The headphones. I bought these headphones when I decided that I was gonna self-produce an EP. The headphones that I had before were actually hurting my ears. I don't know what is wrong with them exactly, but they were very uncomfortable. These, on the other hand, are the Audio-Technica M50X. I think more or less industry standard, used by many people. I know Phineas uses these, who's Billie Eilish's brother and makes all that cool music. I like these headphones. They're very comfortable. I can wear them for many hours. But one thing that they do is they slightly modify the sound to make it better. They like just take out some of the mid frequencies from the sound. And I don't actually like that very much. I prefer a very true to tone flat sound. I don't like that it changes what I've worked so hard to do. You know what I mean? But a lot of people love these headphones, so I still would recommend them. It's more of a preference kind of thing. Okay, last question for today. Your Mind Phil from TikTok asks, I need some tips on keeping motivated. Any advice at all would be awesome. What a big question, huh? It's tough because there's such a hustle culture in creative arts right now, which doesn't necessarily serve what you're trying to do. So the first thing that I would say is just take the pressure off of yourself to like be churning out material. I don't know if that's what you're doing, but if you are, stop. And the next thing I would say is remember to fill up your cup. I remember there was a period of time when I was putting so much pressure on myself to make music that I forgot to just listen to music and enjoy it. And that was really drying me up creatively. So I would say when you're feeling unmotivated, go back to what inspired you to do that creative thing in the first place and don't put too much pressure on yourself, please. So that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If there are any more questions that you have that you want me to answer, also leave that in the comments and I will cover it either in the comments or next time. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you're new here, welcome. So glad you're here. Consider subscribing for more talking videos and also more music and such. Thank you guys for all the lovely messages on Soul. It's so heartwarming and encouraging to see that it's speaking to you. And I'm very, very excited for everything that's coming up. Stay tuned. But okay, how about this for a sign off? Stay groovy. I'll see you next time.